We've had a weather system blow in this week from Siberia, and they've nicknamed it the Beast of the East. And what it means is that we've had a huge amount of snow, as much snow as I've ever seen in the village. And if it's been bad here in the Lake District, it's been even worse in Scotland where I work. And so I've actually been stuck at home all week and I've been cooped up inside and got a bit of cabin fever. And so today, Saturday, I've just taken a walk out my front door and I've headed out to see what I can find. I was actually expecting a lot more snow than we've got. As I was walking through the fields, there's quite a lot of bare patches where the snow has been blown away and it's drifted quite high up against some of the dry stone walls. The plan was actually to photograph one of the lime kilns that scatter the countryside around here, but without a thick covering of snow, it makes for a bit of a boring photo. And so what I've done is I've come down to Shap Abbey and I'm going to have a little look around here and see if I can find anything. To be honest, I'm not really expecting much. So I've had a look around for a few compositions and I haven't really been able to find anything that I like. And I think I need to change my mindset. I might need to start thinking about going for a few more intimate compositions. But before I do that, in order to get to the Abbey, you have to cross this bridge behind me. And I think there might be a shot there. Now, there are some rocks just here that I'm going to use as foreground interest. But there's also some patches of ice in the water that are discoloured. So I think I'm going to need to convert this to black and white because I don't think that's particularly attractive. So as you can see, I've got the camera set up in portrait orientation, which is very unusual for me. I normally shoot in landscape orientation only. And as I say, I've got these rocks in the foreground and it's just as well they're there because this would be a bit of a nothing shot without them. I've managed to forget to bring my remote shutter release with me, so I'm going to have to use the 2-second timer. Looks okay. Now, I've photographed Shap Abbey many times before, but never in the snow. So this time I'm going to look for something a little bit different. Again, I think I'm going to go portrait orientation with the camera, and I'm going to try and use this old column as a little bit of foreground interest. And just beyond it is a kind of a depression in the ground, which I want to include, and then we'll have looking up towards the tower in the background. The only slight problem that we have with this shot is that I'm probably a couple of days too late, and so there are some tracks throughout the snow, which I'm probably going to have to try and take out in Photoshop. Merge your life into this, stay, and you'll be on your own, 'cause nothing is included. So this is a really nice balanced composition. I've got the pillar on the bottom left-hand third, and then I've got the Abbey, or the tower of the Abbey itself, on the top right-hand third. So that keeps a nice balanced composition. The other thing, of course, that I forgot to mention earlier is when you're photographing in the snow, you have to be very careful of your metering. But on modern cameras these days, we all use the histogram on the back of the camera anyway, so as long as we're not clipping the highlights, we should be okay. So 2-second timer, I'm going to take the shot. Nice. You're on the right way, there's no going back. So with that shot in the bag, I'm going to have a look around for some other compositions, and while I'm doing that, you can check out some of my favourite shots that you guys have posted to Instagram using the hashtag #ChrisSalePhoto. So while I've been looking around, I found this column that's sitting in amongst this pristine layer of snow. And every now and then the sun pops out and it makes it cast a shadow across the snow. And I think that makes for a nice shot, which I've just taken now. So let me know what you think of it. My video of the week this week is by Sam Bose, and he's been out in the Brecon Beacons doing his own version of my One Shot Wonder video.
So I was listening to the Landscape Photography podcast recently, and if you haven't checked out the Landscape Photography podcast, I'd highly recommend it. It's run by a guy called Nick Page, who has definitely one of the best photography YouTube channels around, in my opinion. And anyway, he was interviewing another photographer and another YouTuber called Ben Horn. One of the things which was really being highlighted in the interview with Ben was the fact that using large format film to take photos, there's an expense involved in that. There's a cost. It's not cheap. I think he said it worked out as about $40 or so per image. And so what I thought was maybe it would be an interesting challenge to come out and limit myself to just one exposure, in the same way as if I was shooting a large format film camera. I'm actually enjoying it already, because rather than coming up here and running around and thinking, oh, I'll take back, that's the video, I'll take back, I'm up here, I've been having a cup of coffee, and I've got a couple of hours before sunset, so I'm actually really enjoying it, because I can just sit down, forget about photography for the time being, and think about exposures and think about composition, and just take a little bit more time about getting the composition right.
Sam runs a landscape and wildlife photography channel with his wife Hannah, and they're very new to YouTube, they've just got going. But that's one of the things that I want to do with this channel, is showcase some of the smaller channels that I think are really good. And it's getting a bit of a problem for me now. There are so many channels out there. So if you see something that you think's really good, then tweet me at @ChrisSalePhoto so I can check it out. There's been a lot of excitement in the last couple of weeks about a new social media platform called Vero. A lot of us have become very disillusioned with traditional platforms such as Facebook and Instagram because the algorithms that they use are tuned towards marketing. Vero is different because its business model is based on a subscription service that makes the user the customer and not advertisers. It's almost the perfect platform for content creators that want to share photos, videos and blog posts. And a number of my YouTube buddies, such as Julian Baird and Andrew Maguire, have already signed up for it. Now, although it's a subscription-based service, the first million that sign up will get it free for life. So you want to get on there as soon as you can. So that's just about it from me for this week. I'm going to head home before I freeze to death. You look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week.